ドジャース移籍が決まった大谷選手。大谷選手を注目している人気スポーツ評論家のリッチアイゼン氏は、息子さんの野球試合の観戦中にこの速報が流れ、屋外で緊急で動画を上げるぐらいの喜びだったようです。休み明けにスタジオで早速この歴史に残る移籍の話題について取り上げていました。
The Los Angeles sports fan learns that Shohei Ohtani gets to stay in Los Angeles. But I'm sure every Dodger fan will tell you, here in Los Angeles, they're actually getting Ohtani for the first time because Anaheim sure ain't Los Angeles. Because you need a helicopter to get from Los Angeles to county proper to the game in Anaheim.
Well, he can afford that.
And so,
yeah, couple.
But Shohei Ohtani, in fact, stays in Southern California. And he never was in Toronto. And he announced on his Instagram page,
scooped everybody,
that he's going to the Dodgers.
Hey.
And then when I read this on my phone in Simi Valley, California, being the best dad ever, Susie and I divided and conquered. Susie was with Taylor at her semifinal playoff basketball game for the Goldie Youth League. I was out there in Simi Valley with Coop for his travel ball. Very far away from a $700 million contract, although my son did pitch and hit that day.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
No pressure.
Got to start somewhere.
Best dad ever. Hashtag Coop Tani.
Coop Tani. That's my guy.
I read this and I thought to myself, man, oh man. Here we go. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Mission accomplished. They got him. And we've been sitting here for years saying this was inevitable.
Yeah.
And then I saw the dollars and the cents and the length of the contract. And I thought to myself, well, that's one way to win the Ohtani sweepstakes is put a 7 with 8 zeros behind it. 9 figures, 10-year deal, $700 million. Apparently a lot of it is, Bonilla.
Yeah.
So they can avoid luxury taxes. And as they say, build a championship team around him, as if showing up in a batting order that starts with Mookie Betts and then has Freddie Freeman in front of it is not already building around Ohtani or placing him around something that's already ready-made built for somebody with his bat. And then eventually we assume arm. Because the Dodgers need that process to happen fast because, as we all know, they need the arms maybe more than the bat. And what they have, though, is the superstar that will fill Dodger Stadium every single night to see him, that he's in the lineup.
Isn't it already filled every night?
It's pretty much damn close, but now
from
it'll
like
be
the third inning to the seventh
nice.
inning, it's full.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
You
Good
know how
enough.
hard it is to get anywhere in this town, especially trying to get to Dodger Stadium.
And this is it. This is it. This is
Who
it.
cares?
10 years.
I'm going.
10 years. We got to see, 3 rings at least?
That's minimum. Minimum. At least one, right? You got to get one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under.
Ooh.
Got to see 3 because and you take a look at what's to come, because this is why the Dodgers do it for various reasons. One of them is we're already talking about their spring training opener. So go to Arizona to check them out.
Wow.
And then there's the World Tour for Major League Baseball, March 20th in Seoul, Korea. Cool. The home opener is against the Cardinals. The first game at Wrigley Field, this is from Major League Baseball. So a spot where the Cubs hoped to have seen him in a home uniform. He will be a Dodger on April 5th. Then they will see Acuna, a battle of the reigning most valuable players, in May 3rd when they're taking on Atlanta in Dodger Stadium. They visit Yankee Stadium June 7th.
Whoa, that's cool.
Well, do I tell Susie now that that's where we'll be spending our anniversary?
I'd say you just did.
Yep.
They host the Rangers and Corey Seager on June 11th. June 21st, longest day of the year, and that's the way the Angels fans will feel because it's their first regular season game against these Dodgers. And then September 3rd, they buried it on right there on, I imagine, Labor Day weekend. It'll be the first time they see Ohtani in a visiting uniform in Angels Stadium, and I feel for the Angels, except for the fact, how did they not see this coming? because 2 summers ago, they should have offloaded him for a Brinks truck.
Yep.
Now, this might be 2020 hindsight or whatever. I mean, come on. How do we not see all this coming? That the Dodgers eventually, if you let him go to free agency, would back it up and crush it. And I'm just wondering if occasional Rich Eisen show guest, and we always appreciate when JP Morosi calls into the show, and I'm sure he's not very pleased with whoever told him that Ohtani was on a plane to Toronto and that he reported it as such. And maybe that's why the Dodgers on that Friday night went to $700 million, because they figured we've got to keep him from going to Toronto. Although I believe we learned that midway through that Friday that the plane that arrived in Toronto that everyone was talking about was not Ohtani's plane, but Robert Herjavec's, right? One of the Shark Tank guys. He's the Canadian.
Oh, is that what he had to do with
Yes,
that? I saw his name floating around. I'm like, what's Robert have to do with this?
Yes. Somebody call up Morosi and tell him something's up. Maybe I don't mean to accuse anybody of anything, but Ohtani's here, and he's not in Anaheim anymore. He's staying in Southern California. So congratulations to all of the reporters from Japan who have been living here and were nervous that they would all have to uproot their family to Canada or somewhere else, that they get to stay here. And now we get to see Ohtani play in Dodger Stadium for the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is truly the most inevitable thing we have seen in the sports world.
Yeah, I mean,
in recent memory. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
we were hoping.
Honest with ourselves.
We were hoping.
Yeah, but
you were hoping.
We were hoping. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, you kind of knew.
You knew it.
That he was going to stay. And by the way, like, it's kind of cool because I'm not going to Anaheim, but I'll go watch him play for the Dodgers just because you have to see this man play before it's
First thing I'm doing if I'm the Phillies is I call up the Angels saying how much for Trout. Because you know he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Rich. It seems like Mike Trout is, when it's all said and done.
But if you're the Angels, you're like, hell no, I'm sorry, Mike. You're not going anywhere. Like, we still need a draw at this place. We're not giving up. We're not disbanding our team in Major League Baseball. We're still here.
Rich, they had 2 of the greatest baseball players of all time, and they have nothing to show for it. So maybe it is time
to disband?
To let them go and rebuild. I mean,
best line of the day, though, was from Kevin Clark, right? Who covers football. Is he with the Ringer anymore? Is he?
I think he's an ESPN guy.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Kevin, for not knowing off the top of my head. But his tweet was spot on that this $70 million a year salary for Ohtani is a North American standard that will live all the way up until the point the Giants re-signed Daniel Jones, which gave me a huge laugh watching my son's baseball game in a 30-mile-an-hour Simi Valley wind.
It's very, very funny.
Rich, in advertising alone, they're probably going to pay half that a year.
Well, it's not just that, Mike. It's also Keith Olbermann pointed this out. He takes up 2 roster spots.
Yeah.
So when he comes back, and we're assuming he's going to be as great a pitcher as there is, it's 1 roster spot for an elite pitcher and 1 roster spot for an elite hitter. Normally, it would be separate. It's 1. So you get to get another player on your team. That's another added benefit. Plus, there'll be Dodger gear sold around the world.
Crazy.
It'll be must-see television, must-see watching, and you know, that's another reason why. And again, just for the equivalency, I mean, look, Betts is on the same team. Freddie Freeman's going to bat between them, right? Like that's their first and third in the order right there for the Dodgers on the screen, right?
I think so.
Okay, so that's what I mean. Honestly,
man,
right?
crazy.
And so that's the idea. And you had, I mean, good for them to go ahead and do it if they have the money. It's not yours. I imagine the tickets will go through the absolute roof. Well, parking will be $100.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so whatever you want to spend it to go see him. I mean, it's a premium.
Tickets, bro?
And you know, the football equivalent would be if Mahomes was Micah Parsons. How much would you pay him?
Oh.
If you had a quarterback of Mahomes and Micah Parsons' ability to throw it and rush the passer in the same guy, and it's the same thing, like that's what we're talking about.
That's it.
So you can make a case that they actually are going to make a mint in spending $700 million over 10 years, or whatever it is when they finally pay it out.
ロサンゼルス在住のリッチアイゼン氏、ドジャースへの移籍を大きく喜んでいました。今シーズンはエンゼルスタジアムで観戦もし、その後のエンゼルスの惨状を見ているのでなおさらその思いが強いでしょう。 ベッツ選手、フリーマン選手、大谷選手と誰もが心躍るラインナップ。来年はドジャースタジアムでの観戦は増えるのでしょうか。また来年もアイゼン氏の大谷選手に関する評論が楽しみですね。